Sometimes you just have to get into it. Okay. I literally had to count myself down 3, 2, 1 because for some reason I need to get myself mentally ready for these story times. Oh, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I got a little story time. It's not the typical content that you see on here because I know I kind of do a mishmash of vlogs and try-ons, and I have a story that is interesting, and I am going to preface this by saying that it does touch on a really sensitive topic. So I may be using other words that are not the words, YouTube doesn't like these words, so I may be using different words. So if it sounds funky, that's why, but I will try to be as clear and concise as I can. So anywho, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elvira. Today, I am going to tell you a story
that a very young, long time ago me experienced.
And this was all thanks to being stupid, being dumb, and Craigslist. So yeah, it's a really, really great combination when you combine young naivete, stupidity, and Craigslist. I think if I just titled this whole video Craigslist, it would probably sum up what everybody already thinks, because let's be honest, most stories that start with I was looking on Craigslist or I came across on Craigslist don't really have a very great ending, at least not from what I've heard. There are literally hundreds of thousands of YouTube videos talking about Craigslist. Is it Craigslist or Craigslist? It's Craigslist. And who's Craig? Anyway, there are thousands of videos of horror stories that all stem from Craigslist experiences. And I almost became a statistic. Before I get into it, I do want to just show you guys something. This is the outfit of today, but mainly I wanted to show you guys, look at these jeans. Look at these jeans, how cute. I think they're cute, so that's obviously why I'm wearing them, obviously why I bought them, but they have a butterfly pattern, and I'm basically a grown child, so I like the patterns and the butterflies and things like that, so yeah. Anywho, I didn't want the outfit to go to waste, so I wanted to show you. And now that I got that out of the way, many moons ago, not that long ago, but long ago enough that I was still able to use the I'm young and ignorant card. And if the wrinkles on my face are not enough to let you know, that was quite some time ago. I think this happened, and I'm sorry that I don't have an exact timeline. This happened so long ago that I don't have an exact reference point. All I know is that I was out of high school. I just turned maybe 21. So I'm gonna put it at anywhere between 2013, around that time, if that helps. If not, I don't know what was going on in the world in 2013, but I almost apparently died in 2013. So that's what was happening in my life. I fancied myself someone who likes to try a lot of things, right? Painting, art, photography, modeling. I know. Every woman in the world, I think, has considered modeling to some capacity or something creative along those lines. And that's not to say that they are not good enough. It's just, not everybody can do everything, right? Was perusing Craigslist, I remember, and I come across this ad listing that was for artistic, different, very, think not like mainstream stuff, using, different type of things in the picture. So, you're not going to be just smiling at a camera and posing, it's going to be hanging off a roof. I don't know. I don't remember what it said. Probably not hanging off a roof, although that probably would have been better than the alternative. I see the ad. I lived in Illinois at the time. I live in Illinois now, but at the time I lived in Illinois. And it was somewhere in Chicago, I was Chicago is, the place to be if you are in the Illinois state for modeling, acting, things like that. And I actually did have a background role in a show once, which is funny because, yeah, That'll be a story for another time. So, I respond to that ad, and I had, like I had taken like selfies and things like that, and filters existed. It wasn't that long ago, right? Like Instagram was a thing. So we had filters. I filtered and edited my pictures as best as I could, and I thought I was cute. So, I sent in the pictures that I had, and I don't know which ones they were. All I know is that I sent them in, and I was like, hey, like I'm trying to build my portfolio. Gosh, what were they called? It was like a Model Mayhem, I think was a website. Super popular back in the day. Okay, that just goes to show you how like ancient I am. Anyway, so I send in my picture and I get a response, right? At first, everything seemed fine. It was like, hey, we got a response. We think you have a great look. We'd love to work with you. I'm the photographer, and it was a man, kind of giving me ideas like, oh yeah, I want to do something like different and creative. Like shoot at some place that's not typical. Like instead of at a studio, you might shoot at like train tracks. I don't know, right? It was something along those lines. I can't remember, and I don't have the emails anymore because that was an old email that I don't have access to anymore. So unfortunately, I don't have the exact verbiage of what the interaction was. All I know is that everything started super positive, super great. And then we started talking about like which dates, and I was like, oh, well, like I'm available this day. And, we were talking about setting something up for like a weekend date, maybe like a Saturday or a Sunday. And I was like, all right, that's great, and I was dating somebody at the time. And I remember asking, he, just because this is our first time meeting and, I'd like to bring someone, that one is going to drive me there. And two, will just be like my accompaniment, they won't get in the way. They're just mainly going to be, somewhere waiting, they don't have to be in the same room even. And immediately I get a response like, oh God, no, like, I'm sorry, but it's very distracting to the model. So distracting, like I don't work like that. You're going to be super safe and comfortable. I just want you to know that, but I don't allow anybody, it just doesn't work out for me. And this is still the photographer, this man. And I guess I'll just call him Sean because for some reason that name popped in my head. I don't know if that's his name or not. So sorry, guy. I tried like gently pushing back, and I said, no, I completely understand, like I get it to a certain extent. Like as a photographer, this is your job, especially if this is something you're doing seriously. Like you don't want people ruining it or, laughing or anything like that, being distracting. So I completely understood and respected that. And so I counter offered, right, by saying, okay, can I bring a girlfriend, someone who is my age, who actually I knew one of my friends who was like basically a model. I'm like, she's super professional. She's not going to be in the way whatsoever. I just want her more for like support, just to be there, when we're done, she's not going to, not going to bother us. And again, I get met with a lot of hesitation. And at this time, I think he had floated the idea of doing it at like some like warehouse. Like in Chicago, there's a lot of like warehouse type, like industrial type buildings. And so I'm like, okay, this is like an industrial building. It's not a professional studio. Like this is already not a typical place. Like I can't just be going somewhere like that. Me, a freaking probably like barely, 20, 19, 20, maybe 21-year-old. I can't do that, it's just, it's unsafe. Like I was dumb, but I wasn't that dumb, there's levels to it. And so voice and the volume, you could tell in the email, started like getting really, really pushy, and really just like, oh, you're gonna have a lot of fun, like don't worry about it. Oh, I've done this so many times before, like so many girls say how comfortable they are around me. Like he just kept basically like glossing over what I was saying is kind of like my boundary, which was I don't want to be there by myself for obvious reasons. And he's just throwing all this stuff my way. Well, I think at a certain point I just kind of stopped communicating, so I was like, I gotta think about this. Like obviously it was a hell no, but I was like, oh, like let me just consider it, because it's something that I'm not going to be super comfortable with. Just given the location, the fact that I don't know you, you don't know me. Like I think I even said something along those lines, like, you don't know me, it's for your own safety too. Like it's better if we, kind of have people that we both trust, maybe something along those lines, like just something to kind of break that ice. And I was trying so hard to work with this guy and like be professional, but also be respectful of my own boundaries. I remember later that day, Or it might have been the very next day, I can't remember. But I get a text out of nowhere because I had sent this guy my number and I was like, oh, hey, like this is my number, so if we communicate outside of email, because Craigslist hides your email. So after a certain while, you can keep emailing, but you won't see like that person's email. Or you can obviously take it out outside of that chat, which as if Craigslist emails isn't bad enough, then you give out your personal info because Anyway, I get a message from this girl, and I'm gonna call her Sarah. And Sarah is like, hey, Elvira, my name's Sarah. I heard that you're gonna be working with Sean. That is so cool. I'm so happy for you. I just want to let you know that I used to work with him. We used to date. He's super fun. He's gonna make you feel so comfortable. I want you to know that you're gonna be in great hands. And she just started saying all this like weird random stuff about like, how comfortable I'm gonna be. Like she kept emphasizing comfortable, comfortable. Oh yeah, I used to date him. And like I'm like that was gonna make me feel better, I guess, that this random person I don't know, who very well could be anybody, I don't know who the hell you are, but I'm just supposed to take your word for it because you text me, literally, I think it was in the middle of the night that she messaged me like late in the night. So it was just so random and so awkward, and the pushiness, like the tone of the emails and the pushiness, especially of those messages. Like I'm thinking in my head, okay, you're this supposedly like respected photographer. You're doing this cool photo shoot that I'm pretty sure a ton of girls would be like down to do. Why get so like hung up on me? Like I wasn't a professional. I didn't have actual professional pictures even. So like, who cares, right? Like so what if I don't work out? You got plenty of people to choose from, I'm sure. I get that message and I was like, this is not normal. Like nobody pushes that hard, especially for something like, that's going to be more of like a, we're doing it and, you'll get the pictures basically. There's nothing really else to gain or benefit from this. And so I think I ended up just saying like, oh yeah, thanks, like I just would feel more comfortable if my friend would be there. And she's like, no, I get it. It's just, he's such a professional. He doesn't like to work like that. It was just something basically just telling me like, no, you can't bring anybody. You can barely bring yourself. And with all of that happened, the emails, the pushiness, the tone, the Craigslist of it all, I think eventually like there was a small part of my brain that like matured for like a second and was like, bitch, you better be joking. No. And I didn't do it, obviously, because I'm here. But I ended up blocking her number. I don't even know what the hell happened. All I know is I didn't go because that's why I'm here. I'm still alive. And I mentioned this story because one, it's been many years. I can talk about it now. And yeah, hindsight is everything. Now I know so much better. I would never in my life. I wouldn't even be on Craigslist, okay? First off. Moral of the story, just don't go on Craigslist. But if you happen to be on Craigslist already and you're like, damn, it's too late, don't go anywhere with people you don't know. Don't go anywhere with people you don't know by yourself. And don't go anywhere with people you don't know by yourself that you met through Craigslist. If there's any advice I could give to you, anybody out there, it's just don't, okay? If there's a little tiny bit in your gut that says, I don't know about this, listen to it, because that is that prehistoric part of our bodies that help us to survive as long as we have and fight mammoths and things like that, because we know better now. I don't think that it's quite as intense as some of the stories that I've heard, because obviously with the whole island man, the man with the island and the models that he trafficked for XSEX. It's not that I necessarily think that that's what was going to happen, but I think there's a high probability if you ever think something sounds like a possible trafficking situation, that it probably is. And nothing is worth putting your life at risk. Nothing. I don't care how much money they offer you. I don't care how nice they seem. I don't care. Just don't do it. That's my story. Did a lot of stupid shit. Almost did a lot of really, really stupid shit. Thank God I didn't. But I'm here and I'm able to tell you the story. And the moral of the story is, don't trust people. Don't talk to people on Craigslist. Just stay off Craigslist altogether. This is a highly probable situation where I could have been derugged. I could have been hurt physically or actually, intimately. I could have been sent off to another country, ended up like that man with the island. It's very possible. I'm not saying that that was 100% going to happen, but even if the worst case scenario is dude was creepy and made me uncomfortable, that is too much already as it is. So, yeah, Craigslist ads, just stay away from them, I hope that my stupidity, even just messaging somebody and handing out my phone number, which is so dumb, is enough of a warning for you. They say a wise man learns from their mistakes, but a wiser man learns from others' mistakes. So learn from my mistakes and stay safe out there. I hope you enjoyed this story time, y'all. Catch you in the next one.